I like to think we do our job. I like to think we provide service, which we do, but we are economic animals. When it all gets down to it, there's no personnel file anywhere that says Charlie was a good guy on this day, he was a bad guy on that day. You know, Mike Manning has my trading statement. Charlie was an asshole on this day, and he was a good guy on that day, okay? The only thing that we really relate to is our trading statement. So you walk into that pit, you're there. There isn't any more glamour associated with being a commodities trader. That all went out the window all except the guy stuff, okay? You are a commodities trader because you want to make money. So when you walk in that pit, you got to have some rules. One of the things you got to do when you walk in that pit is you got to say, I got to be mechanical. Now you have to set your limitations, okay? I think an excellent way for a new trader to start is, I'm not taking anything more than a one-tick loss, okay? Because if I don't take anything more than a one-tick loss, I'm always going to have enough money to come back tomorrow. And that's the name of this game. The name of this game is, no matter how badly I did today, I took my losses in a manner that was good enough so that I can come back tomorrow. So keep that in mind, okay? So for a new trader, you're long at 6, it's 6 sellers, you take a deep breath, you think about it, can you get out at 6? Probably not. Because you're a new trader, not going to trade with you anyways. 100 could trade at 6, 200 could trade at 6, 400 could trade at 6, and they probably won't trade with you. Get out at 5, okay? Now don't shut up for the rest of the day. Catch your breath and keep trading, okay? And understand what went wrong. Now, the longer you trade, the more trades you do. I always thought a rule of thumb I had was you had to do 4,000 or 5,000 trades before you've been faced with everything. Now, being faced with everything means you're long at 6, match sales, it's even sellers before you know it. Okay, you have to handle that. You're long at 6, Greenspan says something, it's 12 bid. Okay, now you know what to do with a 6-tick profit. You experience a 6-tick profit. A broker sells you 10 at 6, sells you 10 at 5, sells you 10 at 4, sells you 50 at 3 before you know it, and you don't want that much, okay? But you have to puke it. Okay, that's a new experience. A broker buys 200 from you right out of the blue, and you have to scratch or take a loss. That's a new experience. It takes 4,000 or 5,000 trades, I think. 4,000 or 5,000 contracts traded before you've experienced everything. Now, once you've experienced everything, you're okay. But in the interim, okay, you have to build up your time served with positions on. And that's what trading's all about. The longer time you serve in a pit with a position on, the more you know about yourself, the more you know about trading. If I'm long 10 at 6, and I sell them at 6, 3/100ths of a second later, and I get my next trade later that day or early the next day, okay, I haven't learned much. I was long at 6 and I got out at 6. Why'd you get out at 6? Because there was 6, I didn't want to take a loss, okay? When you get to the point where you have a position on, and you can actually say, I'm long at 6, who's bidding, who's offering, what's it trading, do I want to be long at 6, what are the outside markets doing, and you know your mind works very quickly. When you're long at 6, and you can work that quickly where you understand the 17 variables involved in trading, okay, or 20 variables involved, then you're okay. The only way you get to that position is when you have a position on, because I'm telling you something, people's personalities change. You could be a Phi Beta Kappa, and somebody says, say, 23, and you become an idiot, an absolute idiot. You're long 23. Me? Me? What's the market trading? And you look at the board to see if the market's really 3 bid at 4, as you look at it, and you just absolutely forget everything you've ever learned. So you have to serve time with positions on. The longer you spend with time on, the better trader you become, because the more you'll understand, and the more you'll understand how to handle yourself under fire. Okay? Because it's one thing to be long 10 at 6, and there's 500 bid and 500 offered, and by God, it's been 6 bid 7 for the last 10 minutes, and it ain't going anywhere. And I probably won't sell 7s, but I damn well won't sell 5s. That's one thing, and it's quite another thing. And that number comes out. Okay, and you're long 10 at 6, and he says, you want 380? You want 525? You want 620? Okay? It's a whole lot different. You have to handle it differently. You learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about trading, and you learn how to move. And one of the most important things you'll learn is, how do I get out? Now, we've already decided we're going to be mechanical when we walk in the pit. As new traders, we're going to take losses, okay? I take a loss. When I have time, I take a loss and I take it to my advantage. I enlarge my pit size by trading with somebody in a far corner, okay? Now, I'm on 10 at 6, 6 sellers, 5 sellers. How do I get out? Okay, here's one way to get out. Sell 10 at 4, sell 10 at 3, sell 10 at 2, sell 10 at 1. Okay, when it's trading 4 up there, the guys next to you will buy them. All right, and they'll sell them out at 4. That's one way to get out. Okay, there's another way to get out. At all times, know who the brokers are, who the locals are, and what their positions are. You can't tell what a broker's position is or what a broker's order is going to be. Know where to go. When it's time for you to get out, when you don't give a shit and you want to get out, okay, and your voice gets a little screechy because you just want to get out, don't offer it to the microphone in the ceiling because they don't care. The Amish people won't trade with you. Nobody will. Believe me, I've tried to sell it to the gallery. There have been days that, you want them? You want them even? They don't want them even. They don't want them. Nobody wants them, okay? You have to know where to go. Don't offer it to the world. Don't. Offer it to specific people or specific locations within the pit, okay? I'm on 10 at 6, it's time to get out. Sell 10 at 4! No eye contact, no nothing. Who's he talking to? If I sell 4s or I sell 5s, I'll come back and get him, okay? But if he says, sell 10 at 4, and he locks eyes. Man, I know I can't sell 4 because he offered me 10 at 4, okay? So you're out of the ballgame, okay? And if you're a big trader, you might just want to buy 10 at 4, all right? Or if you're a broker, you may have 10 to buy. Or you may go like that, and you show me where it's happening, okay? But you have to make eye contact, and you make eye contact with as many people as you can, as quickly as you can. Sell 10 at 4! Okay, and I just took this row out of the game, okay? But if I go, sell 10 at 4, nobody in this room gives a shit, okay? They want to sell 10 at 5 so they can buy my 10 at 4. So when it's time to puke, make eye contact, okay? When it's time to get out and get out fast, know where you're going. Know where the paper is. We know in our pits, any pit you trade in, you know where the paper is. You know where the brokers are at the big decks. Those are the most likely candidates. Big locals are likely candidates, okay? Make sure you make eye contact and make eye contact with as many people as possible. Now, one of the ways you make eye contact is you increase the volume of your voice. So if the market's screaming down at your lawn, you don't go, sell 10 at 4 and make eye contact. You let them know you got 10 to sell, okay? And sometimes you let them know you got 10 to sell, and price really ain't no object. Sell 10 at, and you just look for the bid, okay? Or you make eye contact with somebody and say, sell you 10. Sold. I bet you 90% of the big brokers in the bond pit, as an example, if you said sell you 10, they go sold, and they wouldn't negotiate price, but they'd come back to you and say, even if it was 30 at the time and it's 20 now, they go, yeah, I bought that 10 from you, God darn it. And the price was 30, okay? Get out by making eye contact. When it's time to puke and you can't use it to your advantage, get out by making eye contact and by being loud. And be mechanical. One tick rule is hard to follow, but remember this. People down here at the Board of Trade that survive have a low puke point. Everybody knows what that is. It means I'm long at 4, I'm long at 2, I'm long at even, I'm long at 30, I'm long at 28. I'm not even thinking about getting out because I don't got a low puke point. I can stay with this stuff forever. No, it doesn't come back. I figured out early on, there were a number of times I was in the pit and I'd be long and the market would be breaking and I would say, God, please make the market come back. Now, why do you have said that? I don't think I am. I think a lot of people have said that. You know, it took me 9 years to figure out that the reason why God never let it come back is because there were people in that pit that were as good as I that was going, God, please let it break. Okay? So there were people working against me all the time. As many times, I can remember there's a guy in our office who did the best deal ever. He said, God, he was short 10. He's bald and he has a beard. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, he was short 10. The market was a point against him. He said, God, if you let it come back, I'll get out of the business. Okay, there was a point against him. It never came back and he stayed in the business, thank goodness. Okay? So, God doesn't trade bonds. I guarantee you, he doesn't care what you're going to name your next kid. He don't trade bonds. He doesn't care what kind of trouble you're in. He doesn't trade bonds. You've got to have a puke point. When you're long at 4, you don't get looking to buy at 2 unless you've been around a long time, okay? When you're long at 4, you want to get out, okay? You want to throw those contracts up all over your shoes. That's a puke point. The people that do the best in there are people that have a low puke point. You've got to puke. You've got to get out. When you have a position on that goes against you, you've got to get out. And you've got to make sure that there's something inside you that's always clicking. That's your self-defense mechanism. The moment you stay with something.